Thanks for tuning in. Today I want to share my Hermes journey, basically a timeline of events and timing as to when I was able to add some significant pieces to my collection. If you're tuning in for the first time, hi, I'm Katie. I like to do these luxury fashion videos here on YouTube. I share hauls and reviews, but at the end of the day, I share my journey so we can all mindfully curate our own collections. If you like what you're seeing, please subscribe to my channel, like this video, and leave a comment down below with your Hermes journey. All of your support really means a lot to me. I've been getting some questions here and there on what my overall Hermes journey looks like, how I was able to add some special pieces to my collection. Do I work with the same SA? Do I have a specific boutique? I figured I could answer the majority of those questions and share an overall timeline of events that help illustrate my personal Hermes journey. Now, I want to preface this by saying I don't think there is a right answer. I don't think there's a singular approach that works. I'm sure you've seen and heard of a bunch of different stories for how people were able to add a piece to their collection. You'll hear some people having to wait years and years. You'll hear about someone who literally just walked into the boutique and walked out with a bag. So I really don't think there's a one size fits all. I don't even think there's like a magic way where it works for everyone or is guaranteed to work. So I don't want the takeaway from my video to be, oh, this is what she did, let me do the same exact thing. But I want to share my journey because I think there are some components of it that are a bit unconventional. So I want to share that in case that maybe gives you an idea for how you might be able to spice up your journey or change things here and there and see if that gives you a different result. I am filming in front of my bag tower because I figured it would be cuter to have the bags in the back, and also makes it easier for me to grab something if I wanted to show you really quickly what it looks like. I would say my Hermes journey really began in earnest around 2018. So it's not too long ago, it's about 4 years ago. Prior to 2018, I had purchased things here and there that were Hermes items. Namely, I had a Clic Clac H bracelet. So I wore my thicker one, but it was a thin one that was black with silver. No, it was black with gold. And I purchased that from the San Francisco Hermes boutique. I want to say 2015. I purchased that while I was on a business trip out there for work, and it was like a little pick-me-up. It was like a little treat. I loved having that piece. I did end up selling that piece because I lost weight and I got the GM size to wear with my watch at the time, and I was no longer wearing that watch and the GM size was just too big for me. 2016, I purchased my compact Bearn wallet, and that's right here. So it looks like this. I got this from actually the Chicago boutique. I did that big no-no where you're not supposed to be buying things from different boutiques. Yes, that was me. That's what I was doing at the very, very beginning of my Hermes journey. I purchased this from the Chicago boutique while I was visiting a friend. I literally fell in love with this color, could not take my eyes off of it, and so I walked out of the boutique with it. I also knew that if I went back to New York and I tried to find this, that I wouldn't be able to find it again. And then I think the next Hermes item I added to my collection prior to 2018, and I think this is around 2017, was my vintage Hermes Vespa in the TPM size. That's this little gorgeous orange beauty right here. I'm not intending this video to be like a collection video where I share every single thing, but I will share some of the bigger items that I did add across the years. So this is the vintage Vespa that I picked up from an eBay seller. It was a Japanese eBay seller, and this is the first ever Hermes handbag that I added to my collection. I wanted to try out an Hermes bag and I wanted to see what it would be like, so that's why I added this. You can see the dust bags used to be orange. I'm realizing there's actually a little bit more to talk about prior to 2018, and that's because in 2017 I did purchase a pre-loved Birkin 30 from The RealReal. And I added that piece as a pre-loved piece because A, I knew it was pretty difficult to get Birkins and Kellys straight from the boutique, and I didn't know how much I liked the Birkin style, actually Birkin or Kelly style. And that's what confirmed that I liked the Birkin style. Up until that point, I was really not a top handle bag carry person. So that's also why I wanted to use that pre-loved piece almost like a trial run to see how I would get along with that style of bag. There's one more item that I purchased from Hermes before 2018. This I think is about 2015. I bought my pair of Oran sandals, but I purchased these from the Charles de Gaulle duty-free shop in Paris on my way to Denmark, Copenhagen. Now, I say my Hermes journey begins in earnest around 2018 because that's really the first time I started purchasing items straight from a boutique. It's not like I wasn't doing that before, but like my handbags were all from a pre-loved market. My wallet was from a boutique in Chicago, piece that I got from a boutique in San Francisco. 2018 was the first time where I started thinking about, okay, maybe I'd want a local boutique, or maybe I want to start building some kind of relationship. I didn't think too seriously about it, guys. Like, I'm talking about it like I had this whole strategy in mind, but I did not. I was just thinking, okay, like maybe now is about a good time to start looking at what kinds of things they have in a boutique, and maybe I can start going to the same one regularly. Like, I was just having these general thoughts. I ended up going on a girlfriend trip to Hawaii the summer of 2018, and that's really what started my Hermes journey in Hawaii. So my girlfriend was buying a whole bunch of really amazing stuff, and I was really looking at a lot of different things, and I think we just really jived with that essay. It was just a really good time, and we actually went to the boutique many days in a row. This is like way before COVID, so the boutique was open until 10 p.m. So we would like go out, do a bunch of things, and then we would come to the boutique towards the evening, probably like 8 p.m. or something, and we'd be there until like closing, just looking at a whole bunch of stuff. I was actually not in the market to try to get a Birkin or Kelly at that point in time. I really just was in Hermes to see what kinds of styles they have, what kind of products they have, because I knew about Birkins and Kellys, but I wasn't that familiar with other styles. So I never asked the question. I never broached the topic. I was just looking at the pieces that were available in the boutique. That's how I added this gorgeous Picotin Etain to my collection. This is the bag that I purchased in 2018 from the Hawaii boutique. I just could not get over this Magnolia color. Just absolutely loved it. In hindsight, this is literally after I come back from the trip. I was thinking about it, and I realized that the essay must have really liked us because she was showing us things that I never even knew about. Like, I never asked for, but she would be like, oh, do you want to see a Kelly cut? They don't even make those anymore now, but she was like, do you want, she was just mentioning all of these amazing things that at the time I didn't even realize how special that was. I'm not saying I was taking it for granted, but I didn't even realize. She was asking if I liked rodeos. Like, who just brings up rodeos before you even bring them up? Like, I didn't know any of this stuff. So after the fact, I realized I probably should have gotten more things. But at the time, I was trying to be really responsible young adult, and I was like, no, I'm just going to get the bag. And I got a few other things, of course, but I was like, I'm just going to stay focused on the things that I think I make the most sense and I will enjoy the most. Then we get into 2019, and I would consider 2019 is really the first attempt that I make to try and add a Birkin or Kelly to my collection. Remember, I still have the pre-loved Birkin 30 in this gorgeous red color, but I did want to add one that was, you know, new to me, like fresh from the boutique, and I wanted to see if I could try to achieve that. Throughout 2019, I actually don't make that many Hermes purchases. I don't really have a regular boutique in the city. I would keep in touch with my SA in Hawaii. I would send her emails and send her texts letting her know that I'm planning a trip later in the year, but I didn't actually purchase anything. I didn't get anything sent from my SA from Hawaii. I was lucky enough to be able to go for another trip to Hawaii, this time with my boyfriend. And when we went this time, we met up with the same SA, and she helped me out to get my yellow Birkin. So this Birkin 30 in Jaune Ambre was the big purchase of 2019. This is with the same essay in Hawaii. So I managed to keep that line of communication open and made another trip out there. And that's really how I was able to get this piece, this little slice of sunshine. And on this trip in 2019, I feel like is a big year where I started adding a lot of Hermes pieces, whether that was home, because I also got my Avalon blanket at the same time. I got like a hat and some accessories at the same time. 2019 is really where my Hermes journey really started to ramp up. When I got my yellow Birkin, that's when I decided to rehome the red Birkin that I had. I was hoping to get a 25. I was hoping to get something that was a little bit smaller, not exactly the same size, but because they were the same size, I opted to rehome the red one that I had, and I decided to keep the Jaune Ambre in my collection. So towards the end of 2019 and into early 2020, that's when I started thinking about and realizing that I wanted to have a little bit more of a local boutique presence. I felt like that would be advantageous for me. I felt like it would probably take a while to get a handbag from a local New York City boutique, but I figured it would still sort of be worth a shot, and it would also be helpful for when I wanted to buy like smaller things throughout the year. I also wasn't envisioning that I would necessarily go to Hawaii every single year, you know? Up until this point, I would visit the New York City boutiques here and there, especially the one on the Upper East Side, and I just didn't have a lot of luck clicking with someone there. And so while I was able to get, you know, maybe a twilly here, scarf there, I got my mom some of their horn pendant jewelry from there as well. So it's like I would get some pieces, but I never really like clicked with someone until I managed to do that. I managed to find somebody in the Wall Street location downtown. So New York City, we're blessed to have 3 different boutiques. There's one in Upper East Side, one in Meatpacking, and one all the way downtown. The one downtown is the smallest boutique. I happened upon the space. I had to look for something. I was browsing for something, and I just met an SA that was really lovely, really nice, and so that's where I planted my roots, if you will, in terms of a local boutique. So 2020, though, we know what happened. The whole world was pretty much flipped upside down. So even though I was able to get some things through my local boutique, I was not really able to shop a lot necessarily through the local boutique. But my SA from Hawaii came through. She reached out and she offered me a Constance 24 in Gris Etain in Epsom leather, and was absolutely gorgeous. I think because of the unprecedented times we were in at the time, the Hawaii boutique was actually shipping bags out to their customers. So when my SA asked if I would like this piece, and I was like, oh my gosh, yes, she was able to ship that over to me. And even though I didn't visit the Hawaii boutique, I still was able to get the Constance from Hawaii. Honestly, I don't think that's an ongoing thing. I'm not quite sure how shipping of bags works anymore. So in 2020, I added the Constance 24. You might be wondering where it is, and that's because I actually rehomed that piece as well. I have a separate video where I talk about why I decided to do that and how I went about it. So I will link that up above so this video doesn't turn into like 5 hours long. 2020 was the year of the Constance for me, but also throughout the year, I continuously purchased from my local boutique. When I had things that I wanted to get, I didn't necessarily reach out to my SA in Hawaii. I did that through a local boutique, and I decided that I was going to keep both of those avenues open for me and try to maintain both of them the best that I can, because living in New York City, I still felt like it made sense to have a local boutique. I cannot get everything through Hawaii, and it feels really cumbersome to get everything shipped to me. Now comes 2021. 2021, I feel like is a pretty big year for me in terms of like things that I was adding to my collection and how the whole year turned out. So 2021 was the first year where I really attempted to get a bag through my local boutique. I knew I had Hawaii as an option as well, but I wanted to start laying the groundwork, if you will, to have a relationship with a local boutique. So 2021 was really when I was earnestly trying to do that. I continuously visited the boutique to add pieces to my collection, whether that be my first fine jewelry piece. We also got like keychains and scarves. If I had gifts to get for people, I'd get them through the boutique as well. I did not purchase a lot of leather goods or small leather goods because as you can see, my tower of SLGs, I don't necessarily need a lot more SLGs. So I still was being very particular around things that I knew I wanted, things that I felt like I needed. things that would add something new or different to my collection. I wasn't just going in to buy like a Calvi and another SLG and another this and another that just to keep adding on to my profile. I was actually bouncing all over the place in terms of things that I would get. I thought was going really well in 2021, but my essay was explaining that inventory overall was running really low due to the production limitations and the number of lockdowns that was happening in France. So I did not keep my hopes high. Now in 2021, I did add another bag to my collection, and that was this beauty right here. This is the Kelly 25 Sellier Touch in Noir, and this actually also came from Hawaii. I was fortunate enough to make another trip out to Hawaii. This time it was a family vacation, and while I was out there, although my SA that I had worked with for the past 3 years no longer worked at Hermes, I got basically transferred to another SA who knew my old SA. She helped me out, and this is the piece that I came home with, and I just could not believe it. I'll link the video where I unbox this and go through my entire story in more detail so that you can check it out if you're curious. So it turns out that all 3 of my bags are actually from the Hawaii boutique. We also got this Ultra Pla from the Hermes boutique from the men's side as well. So this is another Hermes bag that's in my collection, or in our collection. And I feel like 2021 was actually a big year Hermes wise for me, because it was the first year I added a ready-to-wear piece to my collection. It was the first time I got a Rodeo added to my collection, and it was a Rodeo Pegasus right here. So 2021 was definitely a fantastic year when it comes to Hermes, and I am still open to and working with an SA in New York, and I am continuously working with the SA in Hawaii. I just leave that line of communication open. I'll send the occasional text or an email. I don't reach out frequently asking about items in particular, because I don't know how difficult it would be to ship those items to me. If I am planning a trip, I try to give them several months heads up that I'm planning a trip and I'll be coming over. And then as it gets closer to the trip, then I reach out, like reminding them that I'm coming over, and then start throwing in a few things that I'll be looking for. So maybe they can keep an eye out when I visit. But at the same time, I continue to work with the SA in New York. And it's almost like there are like different kinds of things that I look for, like my tableware needs, baby gifts, and things like that. I'll get all of those through my SA in the local boutique. I find it really good to have an established relationship in your local city, because if you have any after service needs, like repair needs, like all of that kind of aftercare service works really well when you have a local person. Now, I know that's not possible all the time. So, you know, if you only had a longer distance SA, you would still work with that person. But if you have a local boutique, I feel like that helps. I like having these 2 boutiques as options for me. I like working with both of those SAs. I feel like Hawaii is pretty used to that kind of, I call them transient clientele, like they're visiting for a short period of time and then leaving, and so they don't hold on to the, you know, how many times have you come to see me, like how big is your profile with me. Like I feel like they don't care as much about all of those details because they're used to people coming in and out. New York, on the other hand, I feel like has its established clientele list, like especially Upper East Side. I feel like they have generations of clientele. So that's where I feel like it's a little bit harder to kind of make your own mark, you know, but that I see as much more of like a long game, just good to have as a local resource, as a local place that I can go to if I need to. I do have a dedicated video on all of my like Hawaii tips, like shopping Hermes in Hawaii tips. So I'll link that up above as well and in the description box down below so that you can reference that video. That is pretty much my Hermes journey. It is still continuing to this day. In 2022, I do have a few more pieces that I'm hoping to add to my collection. So fingers crossed that actually happens. We'll see how it goes. But I'm super content with my collection right now. Like, of course, I'd love another one, but it would be an added bonus more than like a necessity. Not that any of this stuff is necessity in life, but I'm just saying. But let me know what your Hermes journey looks like. Like, did you stick to the same boutique? Did you go to a different boutique? Were you able to find someone that you jived with the first time you went, or did you have to go a few times? Let me know in the comment section down below, because I love learning about and hearing about how everyone's journey is a little bit different. If you have any other questions, feel free to leave them down below or head on over to Instagram and I'd be happy to help however I can. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. I really appreciate all of your feedback and support. If you like this kind of content and you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel. I post new fashion related videos every Sunday and Wednesday. So until next time,